So do you know what a ZYN pouch is? Does that sound familiar?
ZYN?
Yes.
Yeah. I pay a lot of attention to geopolitical affairs, and the ZYN crowd, they call them the ZYN bros. I guess it's really popular with men in their early 20s, late teens to pop these ZYN pouches, and it's nicotine, basically.
Yeah, no, I've a lot of friends I have in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Mm-hmm. I was camping with them this weekend. They're all putting these damn things. They're constantly putting these things in their mouth.
This is a group that the right wing is targeting, because they're saying to these guys, they're going to take away your freedoms. They're going to take away your ZYN pouches. They're like,
well, I think it must be a way to quit smoking.
Is
or
it
chewing or something?
Do ZYN pouches? I don't know much about them. Do they come in flavors?
Yes. Okay. So I almost tried one, but I've chewed before, like a long time ago, like in my 20s, and I got sick and I got a headache and I just hated it. And so I tried it one more time because I'm stupid and I got a headache. So I said, that's it. I gave it a second chance. No more. Not a chewer. And so, but they're like little pouches that you put, down in your lip, like you would put a dip in. Mm-hmm. And, anyways, I've been seeing, I had one buddy, he's always like trying to, hey, you want one of these? I'm like, no, I'm good. And he smoked cigarettes too. And, the guys I was hanging out with.
While doing the ZYN?
Maybe in between.
Man, that's pretty good.
Like he'll finish a cigarette, next thing I know he's putting a pouch in.
Yeah, that's how you roll. You just keep rolling on that nicotine.
And I'm like, wow, I'm kind of late to the party on the ZYN thing. There's, I know peppermint, spearmint. There are probably a bunch of different flavors. And then these guys this weekend were doing the same thing. We're sitting around the campfire, we're drinking, and they got these ZYN pouches in. And
do you have to spit with the ZYN pouch? Like
I know they were not spitting.
Do? Okay,
they weren't spitting.
So it's like nicotine gum.
I saw this morning that apparently younger people are using it like Ozempic to lose weight. Because the nicotine, I don't know, maybe curbs your appetite?
Well, I mean, this was always something with smoking back in the day, back when people used to smoke, back when it wasn't so terribly offensive.
What about fat? There's fat people, they smoke a lot.
True.
They're not skinny.
But
it doesn't work for everybody.
But a lot of people say that they continue to smoke to curb their diet. It's a, what do they call that? Oral fixation. Your mouth always has to be doing something. So it's either cigarettes or food, or it's ZYN pouches or food, or it's chewing tobacco or food, or it's nicotine gum or it's food.
So a bunch of fat young people in this country, Gen Zers, we're Gen X. So that's the
we're lots of generations.
The next generation below us, but they are using these to try to help themselves lose weight.
You're skipping a generation. Millennials.
Yeah.
Gen X, millennial, Gen Z.
XYZ, sure. So anyways, but then of course, you'll probably get addicted to nicotine because nicotine's very addictive. So
is this railed against, or the ZYN pouches, is there a health warning on them like there is on vaping, like there is on cigarettes?
I don't think so. I think it's just nicotine. So I don't know if nicotine, I'm sure you could research it and you could find all kinds of groups against it or whatever. But it's, according to this doctor, the real issue is just getting addicted to nicotine and trading one habit for another, which you were just kind of, excuse me. Yeah. So, I'm like, wow, look at all these people doing ZYN pouches.
It says here, according to Harvard's such a trusted institution in the United States of America, where the finest plagiarists go to have jobs as presidents, that they could unintentionally encourage young people to start using a nicotine product. Well, as long as they just use that nicotine product, if it's not harmful, like nicotine gum. Like I know a fair amount of people that have quit smoking. They just chew nicotine gum, and they're reserved to the fact that they'll chew nicotine gum for the rest of their life, and they're fine with that. They are fine with that. At least they're not smoking anymore, and that's one way that they quit smoking. But because they chew the nicotine gum. Now, the nicotine gum, if you read it, it says you're supposed to taper off your usage of nicotine gum over time. Everybody I know that chews nicotine gum, nobody.
They're lifers.
Yes.
Should we be investing in nicotine gum if we have a little extra cash because people get hooked? So according to this, nicotine affects young people's brains when they're forming. It's not a good time for kids to be using nicotine. Research have shown that early age in nicotine use is correlated with daily use and lifetime nicotine dependence. So
on the flip side of that,
if you're chewing or smoking, it's probably a better alternative than, ingesting all those chemicals.
On the flip side of that, they found that in mature adults, especially men, that it also sparks creativity and helps you focus.
I think you just tell yourself that because you like to chew nicotine gum. Are you still chewing the nicotine gum?
Yes. I'm probably going to be a lifer. Well,
maybe you try the ZYN. It's only $5 for a pouch. Quite a few.
See, the thing is, I think I'm too old for it. Like it's a young man. It's got the Z on front of it, so
you don't want to look too. You don't look like you're trying to.
I see it back there, and I've thought about it, and I'm like, nah. A nicotine gun's fine. Plus, you get a screaming deal on it at Costco. The nicotine gum.
My grandpa chewed nicotine gum for years after not smoking, and it clogged his arteries. Had a heart attack. He's dead. Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
that clogged his arteries, but it wasn't the years of smoking prior to the nicotine gum? Because I don't know how gum could clog your arteries.
I don't think nicotine clogs arteries.
I mean, is the gum that I'm chewing, is it just loaded with cholesterol? I don't notice like a film on my mouth when I'm done with a piece of it.
I think he's just saying that he chewed nicotine gum for years. Oh, yeah, clogged his arteries. I don't know if gum clogs arteries.
Okay,
might be your diet.
I am going to look into this.
Not a doctor.
This gum clogging, can chewing gum clog your arteries? Okay, or nicotine gum, even more so.
Aerosmith, U2 coming up. We'll be right back.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. 93.3 KZOZ rocks.
Because what I've been reading while I was listening to Nickelback is if you chew nicotine gum, and it makes your heartbeat race because nicotine does that. It gives you accelerated heart rate, and the blood flow moves a lot quicker. And it also restricts the arteries while you're doing this, so you're pushing it through a smaller tube because the nicotine over time will restrict the arteries, and then that can lead to artery clogging things in the things that I've been reading. But as far as it causing cancer, like smoking does, I've found no evidence of that. In fact, somewhere I read, I don't know which one of the many articles.
I have it in front of me from the CDC.
Okay.
And they just say nicotine gum does not cause cancer.
Okay.
And extensive research shows that it does not pose a significant risk of causing cancer. We're talking about nicotine gum, and mainly because nicotine isn't what causes cancer, but the carcinogenics in the cigarettes that people smoke. So nicotine gum can be a good thing. Now, other studies have shown that they think some mouth oral cancers that you get could be from nicotine gum, but they're still working on research. That's the CDC. I know you don't trust the CDC, but the reason we started talking about this to begin with is because a lot of people are doing these ZYN pouches, ZYN. It's looks like a little chew can almost, but they open up these little white pouches in them. And apparently if you...
What are in those pouches, by the way?
And it helps curb your appetite so you don't eat as much. What's in the nicotine pouch?
Yeah.
Is that really the question you just asked me?
Yeah.
What's in a nicotine pouch? Nicotine.
I know, but what else? What else? I mean, they put some kind of flavoring in it.
I've done a deep dive. Yeah, spearmint. There's spearmint, wintergreen. It's like, any kind of chew.
I want to open up one of these.
Copenhagen flavor? No, I don't know if
if you're a ZYN user, 805-543-3693, have you ever wanted to open up one of those things just to see what you were putting in your mouth? And are the little tea bags of chewing tobacco, are those still a thing? What they called them, bandits back in the day?
Oh, the little pouches?
Yeah. Or did the ZYN crew take over that? They're like, no, we don't need to deal with the tobacco.
I don't know.
Candy.
That's a good question. We need to know because I'm not a chewer, and Jeff is a former chewer that is now on the nicotine gum, not the ZYN pouch.
No, I don't do the pouch.
I want to try it.
No, because I tried the tea bag pouch. This is what turns me off to the ZYN. Is I tried the tea bag pouch back in the day of when I was chewing tobacco, and I could not stand having a tea bag in my mouth with, you know.
You didn't like getting teabagged in your mouth?
It was weird. It was a weird You know what I liken it to? It was like using paper straws for the first time. Remember when the first time you used paper straws and you're like, what's this scratching on my teeth when I bump it on my teeth? That's what the Bandits were like. I wasn't a big fan.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
ZYN for Life writes in, says ZYN's, he cut open a ZYN. He uses them. He says they have nicotine, salt, and other food-grade ingredients in them. At least that's what the back of his can says. When he opened up a pouch, it just looks like white powder. What if they're putting something else in there? Is Hunter Biden a big fan of the ZYN pouch?
Not everything that's white powder. There's also powdered sugar. There's a lot of things that come in a powder form that white, Jeff, right, that Hunter Biden is not going to get his hands on. So, I'm sure this thing has to be tested and all that kind of stuff. So they
remember in college one year I went as a drugged out tennis player from the 80s. And I decided to replicate heavy cocaine usage by taking non-dairy creamer. And because it's October in the area that we went to college, it's very cold outside in October. And so you would get a runny nose just by going outside because your body would start, acting that way. So I would just take a little bit of non-dairy creamer and put it on the edge of my nose to complete the costume because I was a coked out tennis player from the 80s. And I remember a guy coming up to me in the bathroom at the bar that we went to. He's like, "Hey, bro, you better fix your nose." I was like, "Hey, the costume's working really good."
I thought he was going to ask if you had any he could buy from you. Maybe that would have been the next question once he figured out, oh, this is just a costume? Oh, never mind. I'll just hold off on my next question.
But instead of saying thanks a lot, I was like, "Oh man, thanks for showing me, man. I appreciate it."
So, we were talking about these ZYN pouches, and apparently people are using them to curb their weight loss. And it's only $5, much cheaper than Ozempic, too. But you may get addicted to nicotine unless you're already using it.
It depends on your health care plan. Some people get Ozempic. It's totally free. Well, I mean,
I want to try this. But I'm afraid it's going to make me sick and give me a headache and make me feel like I'm put a dip in.
Just try one. Where's your sense of adventure?
Because here you go. Let me kick you between the legs. Let's just try once. See how it feels. I mean, I already kind of know what's going to happen.
Mike in Santa Maria wants to know why we have not made a mention of the president of Iran dying in a helicopter crash yesterday. I don't know much about it. My wife, I was doing some yard work yesterday.
You don't really do the news. That's Scott's job.
And she says to me, "Whoa, president of Iran just died." And I just kind of looked at her. And I was like, "How'd he die?" And she goes, "It was a helicopter accident." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sure it was a air quote helicopter accident."
Yeah, see, I figured you'd come in today talking about this, being your conspiracy theorist and everything.
Right.
But the latest is it was they all died in this helicopter and it was an accident. But how do we know there was an accident?
Isn't that how Putin's adversary died as well? Is like he died in he was going to come take over the government, and then he realized, he said, "Oh no, I'm not going to take over the government. I'm not going to take Russia away from Putin." And then a week later, he died in a helicopter accident. The helicopter accident is too easy to pull off.
If you're in turmoil with another country, maybe don't ride in a helicopter. Maybe
exactly.
Train.
But you can't ride in a Boeing. I mean, come on, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to get from point A to point B.
It might be safer to ride in a helicopter than a Boeing. Hey, I don't think there was any accidents this last weekend. I haven't heard anything in 72 hours. So
because there was a big helicopter accident. There was a big helicopter accident that killed the president.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Listen online at KZOZ.com.